The NFL season is one day away. The NFL season is 1 day away until we have a week of football every week. The NFL season is 1 day away until we have weekly football again. I am super excited now. It is like the Hall of Fame game, but at the same time, it just means football's back, and I don't care. I don't care if it's Hall of Fame game. I'm gonna watch it, obviously. You know, I'm gonna watch Trey Lance versus Hendon Hooker. Hell yeah. I'm excited. I've been waiting for football for months now, and I cannot wait to see the Vikings break my heart again, like usual. I'm actually excited for that. No, I'm not. Today, we're going to be doing my NFL tiers. I'm going to start trying doing this every year, where basically I'm going to put teams into a tier. It doesn't necessarily mean one's better than the other, but it does mean mostly that team 2 tiers above are better than the teams 2 tiers below, mainly. If you guys do enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe. My final NFL predictions will be out before week 1 of the NFL. My final NFL predictions, my locked-in predictions, will be out after the week 3 preseason game. So once that's over, you will see my official predictions before the season starts. And if you guys are excited for this, hit that like button, subscribe. Let's try to get to 500 subscribers at least before... Let's try to get to 200 subscribers before the season officially starts, before week 1. Maybe even 250 if we end up gaining traction like that. And it's been a while. I haven't really made a real video in a while. I'm excited. And let's get straight into this video. Starting off with the bottom dwellers tier. That tier is basically just the teams that are just the worst of the worst, that I see zero way they win any more than 5 games at all. And that is the Titans, Browns, and Saints. I think everyone agrees that they are the worst 3 teams in the league. I mean, you can interchange them here and there. You know, you could put the Saints at 32, the Browns at 31, and Titans at 30. Realistically, they're basically just the same team, except different problems. Because the Titans, I'll break down each one. But so starting with the Saints, obviously, we got a rookie head coach. You got an aging Alvin Kamara. You got injury-prone receivers and Chris Olave, who's a stud when he plays. And then Brandon Cooks, who I think is a good wide receiver too. You got Rashid Shaheed, obviously. I don't know who your starting tight end is. I really don't. You got a lot of depth at running back, though, and I do think one of them could break out and be the future running back, the next Alvin Kamara. I do think their tackles are nice. You know, Talise Fuaga, last year's first-round pick, and Kelvin Banks. I'm a big Kelvin Banks fan. I think he's a good player, and I think their O-line has the future to be really good, or has the chance to be really good in the future. But then you got a bunch of aging stars, like Tyrann Mathieu just retired out of nowhere. So Honey Badger is officially gone. They do have Justin Reed. I think he's good, but, you know, now that Tyrann Mathieu's gone, their secondary is going to suck. I do like Kool-Aid McKinstry. I wanted the Vikings to draft him in 2024, mainly because I wanted to drink that Vikings Kool-Aid. Because, yeah, I do like Chase Young. I do think he's going to finally break out. I know Kellen Mond's an offensive-minded coach, so, I mean, depends on who their defensive coordinator is. I don't pay attention to coordinators at all. I don't even know who the Vikings offensive coordinator is. I know their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, obviously. But yeah, no, the Saints, I mean, maybe Tyler Shough is an okay quarterback. I doubt it. And if not, they got Spencer Rattler, who is not terrible, but he was definitely a bottom 3 quarterback when he started. But I think overall, I think it just depends on quarterback. I think they're just trying to wait for Arch Manning. Now, will Kellen Moore be the coach next year? Probably not. They'll probably look for a better coach. I won't blame them. I don't know if Kellen Moore is exactly the worst head coach in the league. I think there's a lot more coaches I'd rather fire over Kellen Moore, but there's also a lot more coaches that will be free agents that I'd rather have than, Kellen Moore. Like, if Brian Dable gets fired, he's a good coach to start with the Saints. I think he's a good coach. I just think the Giants suck in general, and I think their future's bright, personally. But next with the Browns, I think they got the coach. I think Kevin Stefanski's I think he's a good head coach, but their quarterback situation is just too loud. They got 4 quarterbacks, not including Deshaun Watson, who's on IR, I believe, and I don't think he's going to play. Yeah, you got Deshaun Watson, you got Kenny Pickett, who, yes, he can pick it. Anyone he throws to can. I just want to make that pun. Joe Flacco, who is easily the best quarterback in that room, but is that a good thing? No. He's still a bottom 3 starting quarterback, easily. I think, obviously, the Saints starting quarterback is worse than Joe Flacco, but then you got, I believe in Shedeur Sanders. I do think he could be a franchise guy eventually. I think you just need the right coach, the right situation. I hope, personally, that the Browns get rid of Shedeur Sanders, and then he goes to a team like the Rams or something, or a team that could use a quarterback of the future like the Rams or the Steelers or something like that. I don't know. I personally don't know. But I do think the Browns might be in play for a quarterback next year if none of them work out. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's ever going to work out. I don't want to doubt him, obviously, but there's a reason why he was a 3rd-round pick. But then again, there's a reason why Shedeur Sanders is a 5th-round pick, but he has obviously the talent of being a 1st or 2nd-round pick. Everyone was saying that he would be drafted by someone like the Giants or the Browns or someone in the late round. No one ended up doing it. But yeah, the Browns, outside of Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku, don't really have any weapons at receiver. David Njoku is coming off an injury. Cedric Tillman is fine, I guess, but you need like a real wide receiver 1 or 2. I think Jerry Jeudy's becoming that wide receiver 1, and I think he's pretty good. David Njoku, this is his last year before he needs a new contract. Same with their entire offensive line. I think their offensive line is actually pretty solid, but all of them pretty much need to get paid this year, and you already have steep money as it is. And once this next season starts, you can finally get rid of Deshaun Watson, and you'll finally have a bunch of money that you can actually use. And I think they got a good defense. I think Carson Schwarzenegger, sorry if I said his name wrong, Mason Graham, Grant Delpit. You got good running backs in Quinshon Judkins if this legal stuff is able to get sorted. Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford. There's some good running backs. So I think your running back and O-line could be good. Your run game could be pretty solid. But outside of that, you don't... I think if the quarterback situation and another wide receiver, if Deontay Johnson can actually be Steelers Deontay Johnson, they could actually do something on offense, and obviously I don't doubt their defense. I just don't see a world where the Browns win 5 games, personally. And the Tennessee Titans, their biggest issue to me is head coach. I think their head coach, I forget his name right now, but I think their head coach is a terrible coach as a head coach. I don't think specifically offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. I don't even know if he's offensive mind, defensive mind. Anyway, I do think Cam Ward is going to be solid. Their running back room is okay. I think Tony Pollard's a fine running back. He's more of like an Alvin Kamara, except not as explosive, but he is getting there in age. They don't really got any pieces on defense. That's really the biggest thing outside of head coach. I think if they can get a solid head coach next year, improve on receiver, or Alec Manor becomes a stud and Gunnar Helm becomes a great tight end, and their defense improves a lot, they could be a 7-win team, 8-win team. That's pretty solid. But I think until they get a good head coach, I think they're going to fire him by the end of this year. I think they'd be dumb not to, unless they outperform, of course. But yeah, that's it for the bottom dweller tier. That's just the 3 worst teams in the league. I think everyone agrees with that. I don't think there's any hot takes there. Next, we got the mid/bad tier. So these are teams that are either mid or they're just straight up bad. They're not bottom dweller bad, but they're bad. That's the Jets, Raiders, Seahawks, Falcons, Panthers, and Giants. So, the Jets, I think they could be a 6-7 win team. 6-7. I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. I promise you I didn't do that on purpose, but I ended up saying it anyway. So, I think the Raiders could win 6-7 games. The Seahawks will probably win 7-8 maybe. A lot of people think that they can win 10. I don't see that. The Falcons, probably about 6-7 as well. Panthers, probably the same. And Giants will probably win 4-5 games. I used to keep thinking 3, but I think overall roster-wise, they have the talent to win 6 games. But I think schedule-wise, they're going to win 3 games. 2-3 games. I don't know. So let's start with the Giants. The Giants they have a really good defense, especially adding Abdul Carter. They got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Javon Holland, the guy I want the Vikings to get him in free agency, but I woke up to the Giants getting him. And Dexter Lawrence. Then we got Russell Wilson, who is an average quarterback. He's solid. He's someone that you could win, I'd say 4 or 5 games with at a quarterback, especially if you have a good situation. But their O-line outside of Andrew Thomas, who's coming back after a big injury, is very questionable. Malik Neighbors obviously is a probably top 10 receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson's underrated. Kamsi Adebo and Tyrone Tracy is going to be a really good running back duo. Devin Singletary, you can get him out of there finally. He was a bad pick. I don't know why they picked him up, but luckily Tyrone Tracy ended up being a diamond in the rough. I think realistically they would probably win 3-4 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win 6-7. The Panthers, I think their offense is going to be super fun to watch. I think if Bryce Young goes to that next level of quarterback play, and Tedero McMillan is as good as he's so expected to be, and Adam Thielen isn't a grandpa, and Hunter Renfrow, he looks really good, and then obviously if Xavier Legette can go to that next level and finally play good, because he was okay, I guess. Their offense is going to be fun to watch. I think their running back, Chuba Hubbard, he's really good. He's easily top 10, in my opinion. But their defense is going to be the big problem. J.C. Horn and Derek Brown are both coming back from injuries. I think Derek Brown's injury is way worse. So we got to see how they actually perform. Outside of them, though, there's no one really on defense that I look out at and go, they could be okay. Falcons, they're weird. I hope, obviously their offense is going to be really good. They got Bijan Robinson. Apparently we've been saying his name wrong. It's Bijan, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm going to be correcting. I'm going to say it correctly. Bijan Robinson. Drake London is a fringe top 10 receiver. He's almost there, I would say. I think Darnell Mooney is very underrated, and maybe, just maybe, finally Kyle Pitts can break out because it looks like Michael Penix is trying to throw to him more. So maybe he can finally work out. Ruben McLeod's a good wide receiver 3 in my opinion. Their offensive line is not terrible, but they did lose an important piece of their run game on defense. On offensive line, Drew Dahlman. And their defense is the problem. And their coaching. I think Raheem Morris is a dumb coach. Not dumb, but I wouldn't say he's a smart coach. I wouldn't say he's like a exciting coach. I'd say he's closer to an Arthur Smith at head coach than some real good mastermind at head coach. But they got the offense, and they got some defensive players like AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates. Obviously, their two rookie edge rushers, Jalen Walker and James Pierce. They got the team. They just gotta show it. They won 8 games last year, but I thought they were gonna win the Super Bowl. Obviously, I didn't think they were gonna win the Super Bowl, but I thought they were gonna win like 12 games last year. But that's back when I was less knowledgeable. I would say I've developed a more NFL brain because this is only my 3rd season actually watching football. But I think the Falcons could be good if Michael Penix is good. I think it just depends on him. Next, we got Seahawks. I don't know. They went from Geno Smith, who, with Geno Smith, you know what you're getting. You know you're getting a solid quarterback, to Sam Darnold, who had his first good year under a elite team. He had an elite team. Obviously, Sam Darnold himself is not elite, but he played like an elite quarterback because he had the head coach. He had the offensive line for a little bit. He had wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. He had running back. He had tight end towards the end of the season. The defense around him was good. But now Sam Darnold's going from an okay O-line, or from a solid to okay O-line, to now a bottom 10 O-line with, I would say Jordan Addison's still better than JSN. So your wide receiver 1 is not better than your wide receiver 2 in Minnesota. Elijah Arroyo can be a good tight end in the future. I just think he still needs to develop a little bit more. I do think they have the QB of the future. I do like Jalen Milroe. But I think Jalen Milroe is going to be more of a Jalen Hurts quarterback than like a, Lamar Jackson type quarterback, which is not bad. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but I don't know. A lot of people like to say that they'll win 10 games. I don't see it. I see 7, maybe 8 if everything goes right. But you see how Sam Darnold plays with the terrible O-line. And now you're going back to that for 17 games. I don't know. I like Sam Darnold. I appreciate what he did with us, but at the same time, I don't think that was going to be, I don't think that's going to be enough. Obviously you have the worst coach. I think McDonald is not a bad coach, but I think he's a good defensive mind. I think their defense will be top tier. Next up, you got the Raiders, who now got Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers, Jack Betch, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and that's it. Obviously on defense, you got Max Crosby, but you just got rid of Christian Wilkins for whatever situation happened. I guess he was kissing his teammate's head and also refusing to get a surgery on his leg. And because of that, they cut him, even though they gave him a giant contract earlier. That's going to be rough for him, or for the team in general. They got rid of their best corner in Nate Hobbs, who I don't think he was even that good. But they got rid of their best corner and didn't replace him with a better corner. So, outside of, I'm blanking on his name, Jeremy Chin and Max Crosby, you don't really have a good defense. I do like the pickup of Jermaine Pratt. I do think he was good. But outside of him, outside of those 3 on defense, you don't really got the greatest players. Next up, we got the Jets. The Jets, usually you want to put them at the way bottom because it's the Jets. I don't think they're making the playoffs like I did last year. Last year, I had them winning the division and making the playoffs, which is crazy. I felt for the hype like everyone else did. But I should have known it was Aaron Rodgers. But then again, when you usually say that, like if you said that 5 years ago, you'd be like, it's Aaron Rodgers and a good thing. But, they got the weapon in Justin Fields, they got the quarterback who, good or bad, I don't know. I personally don't know. I liked what I saw in the 6 games he played in Pittsburgh. But, you have your Justin Fields does have his George Pickens, but Obviously, I think Garrett Wilson is better than George Pickens. But wide receiver 2, you don't really have a wide receiver 2, in my opinion. I don't see a wide receiver 2. I think Josh Reynolds is okay as a wide receiver 3. Mason Taylor, I like Mason Taylor a lot. Their O-line is going to be okay. I think their tackle duo in Olu Fashanu and Armin Membo is going to be good. I think that was the right pick. Obviously, they could have picked Shador Sanders. They could have picked Jackson Dart. They didn't. They went Armin Membo. I think they could have even picked Ashton Genty, but I think the running back duo in Braylon Allen and Breece Hall is okay. It's actually pretty good. Aaron Glenn, first-year head coach. How is he going to do? I don't know. Maybe year 2 will be better, especially depending on if Justin Fields is a good quarterback and he'll be their quarterback next year. Their defense might be good. Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner. You have your young guys locked in as well. You do get rid of C.J. Mosley, but then he retires, I guess. I don't know. This defense is either going to be really, 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 really overpowered and elite, because first off, you have Aaron Glenn at head coach as a head coach who's a defensive mastermind, or it will be really bad. I don't know. Me personally, I think it's going to be closer to a good defense, and I think their offense is going to be fun to watch once in a while, but you're not going to be like, oh, turn this game on immediately. But yeah. Okay, next we're in the fringe playoff teams. These are teams that I think will win 9 games, 8 games, maybe even 7 games. But they're just teams that are going to be week 16, they're going to be in the playoff picture, the top 3 teams that are in the fringe. You'll see them in the playoff picture by week 15, I believe. Week 16 even. Maybe even week 17. But, yeah, here's the teams. That doesn't mean I'm specifically saying which team's going to make the playoffs. I'm not, just because I said the Bengals, doesn't mean I'm necessarily counting them out on the playoffs. That doesn't mean it's my prediction that they're not going to make the playoffs. This just means teams that I don't think are fully going to be in the playoff picture. Starting with the Bengals, I got the Steelers, I got the Jaguars, Packers, Patriots, Bears, Colts, Dolphins, and Cardinals. Starting with the Cardinals, I like who they picked up on defense. Walter Nolan, Josh Sweat. I think from what I'm seeing, Will Johnson's playing really well. I saw a couple clips today of him covering Marvin Harrison Jr. They're doing pretty good. And Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously is looking good too. And then Kyler Murray, from the video that he made, the YouTube video, it looks like he really wants to actually win a Super Bowl. Doesn't mean they're going to necessarily do it, but that means he's locked in. Like, he wants to actually do this. He has the mindset that I think all quarterbacks that win have. James Conner is a good running back. Maybe Trey Benson will develop into that guy finally. Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson's solid. Their O-line's not great, but it's not the best, obviously. And, outside those 3 players I named, Dalvin Tomlinson's fine. Calais Campbell is fine. Budda Baker, obviously, is a top 10 safety. I think they could win 9 games, maybe even make the playoffs and win 10, personally. They won 8 games last year, and they only got better. Then we got the Dolphins. I don't know about the Dolphins. I think they'll win 7 games, probably. It's tough because, obviously, they don't have the greatest coach. They have a good offensive mind in their head coach, but they don't have the greatest coach as a head coach. Their defense, it really depends on how Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips play. And Minka, obviously, coming is really good. And they did get rid of Jalen Ramsey, but he didn't perform the greatest last year, so maybe that will be a good breakup for them. Jonnu Smith, it's going to suck. I think Darren Waller's not even going to be close. And I do think by the end of this year, Mike McDaniel is going to be fired. I don't know if that's a good thing. I think Tua's going to, stay healthy this year, unless that O-line is atrocious, which it probably will be because their O-line's not the greatest. I think Tyreek Hill will bounce back. I do think Jalen Waddle will bounce back. Obviously, Devon Achane is a really good running back. I don't know. Their offense is going to probably be fun to watch until December, like usual. Then we got the Colts. Realistically, outside of quarterback, they have the team. Like, their roster is really good. I'm a big Cam Bynum fan, obviously, because I'm a Vikings fan. In fact, I was super, super disappointed when Cam Bynum actually left the Vikings. Now, I preferred him over Byron Murphy personally, because I just love Cam Bynum. But, they got the team. They just need competent quarterback play. Shane Steichen's a fine coach. I don't think he's like the best coach, obviously, but he can get the job done if he has the quarterback. Obviously, I think this could be Anthony Richardson's last year if he sucks again. He needs to at least have above 55% accuracy. He needs to hit more than half his shots at least. And hopefully he's more mature this time and doesn't sit out just because he's tired. That was dumb. Anyway, they got the top 10 running back in Jonathan Taylor. They got good weapons. They got the tight end that I think will get the job done. I think this tight end will be a Brock Bowers type season, no matter what quarterback. Because look at Brock Bowers last year. He had, I believe, 1,000 yards. With Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell and a little Desmond Ridder at quarterback. I think if Brock Bowers can do that, I think Tyler Warren will get the job done with Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones obviously is not a good quarterback, but I think he's more competent than Anthony Richardson. They got the team. All I'm saying is they got the team to win 10 games. But they need the quarterback. Me personally, that's what I think. Next, we got the Bears. Everyone's on the Bears hype, like every year. Now, I think the Bears could be good next year, personally. I think they still need another year of Ben Johnson. And they got the weapons. They got DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, or I think it's Roma Duns, whatever it is, I don't even know. Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, I guess. They got a good O-line now. Their defense, it's good. It's just not the greatest, but they overall have the team. They have a rookie head coach in Ben Johnson. I don't know. That's just me. Okay, next up we got the New England Patriots. They're a team I think could actually be in the playoff picture by week 18. I think week 18 they'll be like, they'll be a 7 seed. If they win this game, they'll make the playoffs. If they lose this game, they'll lose the playoffs. But this team also has to win a game too, like last year with the Broncos and Bengals and I can't remember the other team. Maybe Dolphins. Anyway, Patriots, especially with Kyle Williams looking really good in camp. Again, it's camp, but I think with the coach that they have with Mike Vrabel, Drake May, I really like him. I think he is a Josh Allen type quarterback. And I don't really like when people compare quarterbacks to each other because they're all different in their own way. Drake May is 22 while Josh Allen's 29 and played in the league for 8 years or something like that. 7 years, 6 years. I think it's 6 years, 2018. It feels like it's been 20. But they got the team. Stephon Diggs, if he performs like he was before getting injured on the Texans. Kyle Williams plays as good as he's looking in camp. Travion Henderson is as good as I think he could be because I'm an Ohio State fan, so I'm a Travion Henderson fan. Their O-line should be good, or at least better, with Morgan Moses, Will Campbell. Who else did they add? Jared Wilson, Garrett Bradbury. Oof. You might as well start the rookie at that point. Obviously with the additions at defense that they obviously overpaid everyone, but they had the most amount of money. They have the team, I think, to be an 8-win team, 9-win team. which is good for a team that won 4 games the previous year and hasn't really had any winning success except for Mac Jones' rookie year post Tom Brady. Next up, we got the Packers, a team I think could win 9 games. I'm not even going to talk about their games anymore. I'm not going to talk about how many wins I think each team will get. I will address that once the time comes. But, I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. They got the quarterback. Josh Jacobs is a great running back. They just really need to figure out who that wide receiver one is. I don't think Matthew Golden will be one. I hope for his case, Jayden Reed could be that wide receiver one. Well, I think Matthew Golden's more of a complimentary receiver than a wide receiver one type quarterback. He's like that speedy receiver like Jameson Williams or Jordan Addison or what's his name, T. Higgins. But obviously T. Higgins has the chance to become a wide receiver one in my opinion, or he has the skill. I don't really look at their defense and go, that defense is great. Now, obviously, a lot of people do. And, I'm not going to say that the people who have been watching the league for 8 years or more knows more than me, or I know more than them. Obviously, I don't. Again, like I said, this is my 3rd year watching the NFL. My real 2nd year that I really fully paid attention to everything. It's just, it could be the hater side of me. Obviously, I'm a Vikings fan, so it could be the hater side of me saying that the Packers aren't that good. But, look at their secondary. Outside of Xavier McKinney, who do they really have? They lost Jair Alexander. They got Nate Hobbs, who I don't know much about him, but I know he's obviously not a big name for a reason. Their O-line's still not great ever since David Bakhtiari left. Looking at their defense, I just don't see that defensive player that maybe Lucas Finesse can finally be good and break out like he's supposed to, like he was expected to be. But I don't know. Again, it could just always be that hater side of me, and I agree. That could be true. We'll have to wait and see. But they also only won 1 division game, and that was barely a win in the NFC North. And I think you have to win at least 3 of those to really have a chance in the NFC North. Next up, we got the Jaguars, who they have the unicorn. Obviously, that's a name that he chose out for himself, Travis Hunter. They got a rookie coach, Liam Cohen, who's a great offensive mind, obviously. They got Trevor Lawrence, who maybe he can go back to his 2022 form or finally go above that and deserve the contract that he has. I mean, he got $55 million a year for a reason. Outside of Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, they don't have that defensive player that specifically on their secondary outside of Travis Hunter that I really look at and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. They got the good pass rush. That's all I'm saying. They need the D-line. They need the secondary. But I think they have the team overall. Maybe Take Bigsby can, get to that next level and prove to himself as the RB1, or, Travis Etienne knows that his time is almost up and finally performs. Next up, we got the Steelers. I don't know. Steelers, obviously, they're going to win 9 games. Obvious. They always do that. But, I guess for now, replacing George Pickens with DK Metcalf is fine. But you replace Justin Fields and Russell Wilson with Aaron Rodgers, which I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback right now than those two. I think Justin Fields should have been their guy, and he could have worked out well, but I'm happy that he's with his OSU buddy in New York. The Steelers obviously paid TJ Watt finally, but now that Minkah Fitzpatrick's gone, their safeties aren't going to be great. I think their safeties are average, but without Minkah Fitzpatrick, I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. They got a really good defensive line, obviously. Their secondary, or their corners specifically, should be good with Joey Porter, Darius Slay, and Jalen Ramsey. Their tight end duo with Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth should be really good. I'm slowly becoming more of a fan of this team. Maybe they can win 10 games and actually maybe win a playoff game. I doubt it because it's the Steelers. I don't know. It depends on how the team performs. It depends on how Aaron Rodgers plays. He didn't even play that bad last year. But next up, we got the Bengals, who, good news, Bengals fans. Shamar Stewart got paid finally. You finally have your rookie playing. And Trey Hendrickson today is playing in training camp. Or is he's going to training camp. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play, but it's a good thing. Maybe the Bengals will finally have stability. Maybe they'll finally pay him, like, probably not $40 million a year. Realistically, there's a reason why they didn't. But if Trey Hendrickson's fully playing week 1 and playing up to perform as good as he wants, so he can get $40 million a year next year, the Bengals are winning 10, 11, maybe even 12 games. All they need is Trey Hendrickson. Realistically, all they need is Trey Hendrickson on their defense, and they're good. They're good enough with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, Chase Brown as well. Oh, and don't forget, I'm forgetting his name, Mike Gesicki. Don't forget him. Okay, next here we got the playoff contenders. They don't always mean that they're going to make the playoffs, but they will be 100% in the playoff picture by week 18. 100% to me, personally. And that is the Cowboys, Commanders, Chargers, and Vikings. These aren't teams. No, they also mean that they're probably not going to win a playoff game, specifically the Cowboys. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that they'll win a playoff game, but they are good enough to do so. So, starting with the Cowboys, they have a really good wide receiver duo. Dak Prescott's coming back healthy. They got a good O-line. I guess losing Tyler Guyton does suck, but they got the O-line still. Micah Parsons is planning on playing, and he's probably going to try to prove that he needs a contract. He's probably going to get a contract before week 1 as well, because that's what happened with Dak and CD last year. I don't know. They got the team. Overshawn, I think he's coming back. I think I might have said his name wrong. Overshawn. Hopefully he comes back fully healthy. Trayvon Diggs, maybe he comes back fully healthy. Siobhan Revel. I like Siobhan Revel. Hopefully he's healthy, though, when he plays. They do have a team that could win 10 games, 11 games. But that doesn't guarantee that they will. I don't know. Next, we got the Commanders. They're going to win 8+ games for sure. They're not winning anything less. I'm not as high as everyone else is on the Commanders. But, you know, they lost a lot of defensive players, and that just, like, makes me weary about them. But I do like adding Laramie Tunzel. They did draft, was it Josh Connerly? I think they drafted him. Bringing in Debo as wide receiver 2 behind Terry. As long as Terry's fully healthy and playing week 1, they should have a really good offense. Brian Robinson's not a bad running back. I like Austin Eckler. I think they have the offense. I just think their defense needs one playmaker. Losing Jonathan Allen sucks. Losing Jeremy Chin sucks. They did bring in Javon Kinlaw. I don't know. I know I've said I don't know a lot because it's true. I don't know. I do like Trey Amos, though. Next, we got the Chargers. I've been saying like 11 games until recently, where I've been like more like 9. I even said 8 when I did a recent prediction. The thing about them is just their defense. I'm not fully set on. You know, obviously they got I'm forgetting his name. I'm blanking on his name because it's like 11 o'clock at night for me from yesterday. And I'm very tired, so I'm sorry. I'm going to be rushing through the rest of the video. They got the team. They got the offense. Let's see how Trey Harris plays. Quentin Johnson, will he break out? I don't know. Hopefully, for his sake, I hope he does because, you know, I like his story and all that, but he just cannot catch. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. I don't care what you guys say. Yes, he had one bad performance, but so did Jared Goff. Should we just say Jared Goff sucks now, too? Then, finally, the Vikings. they really have the roster. They have a Super Bowl contending roster. It just depends on J.J. McCarthy. It really depends on him. By the way, I am going to training camp on Monday. So I'm going to try making a vlog. So look out for that. Just saying. There might be a vlog. Maybe even on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram. I'll have the link I'll have the link in the description for my Instagram. I'll be posting pictures of training camp there. I might even get like a jersey signed, specifically this one by number 9. The best quarterback to wear number 9, by the way. We realistically, though, we have the roster. We really do. We do have a Super Bowl winning roster. It just depends on how J.J. McCarthy plays. And I personally think he's going to play well enough that we're going to win 10, 11, 12, dare I say 13 games. I still don't trust us to win a playoff game until I see us do it. I did get to watch us win a playoff game in 2017. That's the first game I ever watched. And that was the Stephon Diggs game. My bad. Brain fart. I told you. I'm tired. Next up, we got the 49ers. They're weird because they lost a lot of players, but also they were the most injured team last year, and they're getting all their players back outside of the ones that they lost. Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk. They're all coming back from either injury or contract. They all got paid. I like them. I do think they'll win 10, 11 games. I personally don't have them winning the division. But, so we got playoff teams now. I forgot to say that. These are the teams that I think will win at least one playoff game. Personally. That doesn't mean I guarantee that they will, obviously. But that's also the Texans, Lions, Broncos, and Buccaneers. Now, we already said 49ers, but I'm going to go to the Texans now, who, if Tank Dell comes back from injury midway through the season, they'll be able to win 12 games, depending on how they are at the time he returns. But once he comes back in the playoffs, they're going to win a playoff game, maybe even 2. If Jaden Higgins is as good as I personally think he will be, they'll have their wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 locked down, specifically if Tank Dell returns. You know, they don't really have the best O-line, but I think that's obviously going to continue being their problem, at least this year. They have the defense with Danielle Hunter. I'm a Vikings fan, so obviously I like Danielle Hunter. With Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr. is really good. They got the safety, the corner. Their team's really good. I like Joe Mixon a lot. The Texans should be a Super Bowl contender next year. Or even this year, if they're able to pull everything together. Next, we got the Lions. I think losing their coordinators is going to hurt a lot more than people think. Like, I don't even think I'm not going to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say it. But, I don't know. They obviously have the roster. You know, they have the head coach. They have the quarterback. They have the running back. They have the receivers. They have the tight end. They have the safeties. They have the corner. CB1, CB2, DJ Reed's fine. They have the edge rusher and Aiden Hutchinson, who's returning. Overall, they have a Super Bowl winning roster, and I think it's possible to win a Super Bowl this year. It just depends on how that's going to affect them losing their coordinators. If I can speak. Obviously, I can't because it's almost 11:30. Next, I got the Broncos, who easily are going to have the number 1 defense in the league. In my opinion, I think Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, J.K. Dobbins, Evan Ingram, Bo Nix, their roster is really good. Their O-line is going to be really good. They have the head coach, Sean Payton, is really good. I think he can win defense or Coach of the Year. They got the team. I think Super Bowl is not weird to say, personally. And then the Buccaneers, obviously, adding Emeka Egbuka to an already really good team with the guy that's literally on my wall right now, a poster of him. And obviously, Bucky Irving is really good. You know, the best running back in the league is Bucky Irving. But then Baker Mayfield on my wall is what I was trying to say. Above my bed. Weird, I know, but I don't care. Other people do weirder stuff. And finally, I'm not going to really go through the team, I'm just going to end with the teams. But obviously, these teams are teams that are going to win the Super Bowl, most likely, or be in the AFC Championship, NFC Championship. That's the Rams, Bills, Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, and Eagles. I personally think I'm not going to spoil anything, okay? I won't spoil anything. But those are all the teams that I think will win a Super Bowl this year. Obviously, only one of them can do it, but they're all teams that I think could. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe. I did this at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. So subscribe for that, and I'll see you all later. Peace.